This planet is called Cerberus. Nothing in deep space is what it seems. And I give you some time to take all this in. But you see that there? The planet looks like Earth. The spaceship descends onto the surface of an unfamiliar planet. An astronaut emerges, carrying an American flag to plant it in the soil of this new world. Meanwhile, on Earth, a young man lies in a bathtub, holding his breath. Before him on a small table sit numerous bottles of medication. He seems entirely uninterested in answering the persistent ringing of a nearby phone. Later, he begins his day, dressing, breakfast, coffee. The phone rings again, but this time the caller ID displays an unexpected address, the office of his long-deceased father. Surprised, Aiden hops onto his motorcycle and rides to a NASA facility. Joseph Sharp and Robert McGrady comment that Crawford's son is not as punctual as his father and debate whether he'll show up at all. At that moment, Aiden enters the room. Sharp introduces himself and explains that their reaching out to Aiden is an emergency. Both men knew his father well, having worked for him. Crawford, they say, was an extraordinary scientist and a skilled pilot. Before leaving, he entrusted them with his life's work, the exploration of space beyond Earth. Sharp shows Aiden a set of cases belonging to his father and asks him to open one. Inside is a gadget Crawford developed called the neuroinhibitor, described as a network of the subconscious mind. The device, they explain, was left with them before Crawford's departure. Hearing this, Aiden becomes angry, accusing them of speaking as if his father simply went to buy bread. In reality, he's dead, and everyone knows it. Still harboring resentment toward his father, Aiden recalls how he spent more time at work than at home. He missed birthdays and barely communicated with his son. Aiden, therefore, doesn't understand why he has been summoned. The agents reveal that Crawford continued helping them complete his research even after his disappearance. What's more, this technology is alien in origin. Aiden is shocked when they suggest that his father might still be alive. After all, there was an official funeral, and both he and his mother saw the casket. They explained that this was Crawford's condition. He wasn't sure if he would return, and the funeral was meant to ease their worry in his absence. Confused, Aiden asks, "Not here? Then where?" Sharp urges him to sit down, and the story begins. Crawford's first mission was a classified expedition to Mars. His co-pilot was a woman named Susan. After extensive training, they were devastated to discover that Mars was uninhabitable. Unable to accept the mission's failure, Susan refused to return to Earth. Crawford, however, returned home. Susan continued her research on the planet, but quickly ran out of supplies. Her body was never found. Overwhelmed by guilt, Crawford began working on a safe method for space exploration, the neuroinhibitor. NASA considered searching for Susan, but with no family on Earth, they decided against sending a rescue team. After this meeting, Aiden discusses everything with his psychiatrist and recalls how one night his father came home late and silently watched him as a child. Aiden remembers his father's expression, so different from his usual demeanor, as if he were hiding something wonderful, like a pleasant secret. It was their last encounter. Only now does Aiden realize that his father had been keeping something extraordinary from him. Reflecting on the NASA conversation, Aiden recalls how the agents explained that for years his father had been in the Andromeda constellation. However, it wasn't a physical presence. His consciousness resided within the neuroinhibitor, traveling through space. His body had remained at the NASA facility until it began to decay, at which point it was disposed of. They elaborate, explaining that the human mind moves faster than the speed of light. Crawford was fascinated by how the brain perceives and controls the world. Walking through a forest, for example, a person sees sunlight reflecting off leaves, hears birds singing, and smells the fresh air. Sensory neurons in the eyes, ears, and nose send signals to the brain, combining these sensations in milliseconds. Crawford applied this concept to the neuroinhibitor, allowing for the exploration of planets without physically traveling to them. Using this device, he built a colony and even made contact with other species, but now his consciousness is trapped within the neuroinhibitor. Aiden is still unsure why they're telling him all this. The agents confess that Earth is dying due to overpopulation and food shortages. Climate change is accelerating, and infrastructure is expanding uncontrollably. Crawford believed that, while humanity was born on Earth, its end would come on another planet. That's why he dedicated his life to finding a new home for mankind. All these years, Crawford had communicated with them using the device he invented. However, 3 weeks ago, all contact ceased. A week ago, an unexplained alien attack occurred on planet NP-22, targeting Earth representatives. They are aware that hostile alien life forms have emerged in that region, but the details remain a mystery. In addition to Crawford, 11 other researchers equipped with chips at the base of their necks traveled on to the Andromeda constellation. These individuals can remain in a perpetual sleep state. Aiden is one of them. His father took advantage of a car accident Aiden had at age 7, which left him unable to remember what the doctors did to him. During this time, Crawford implanted a chip so that Aiden could one day reach his planet. Now Aiden is the only one who can uncover what happened to the researchers. All of Crawford's followers have also gone silent, likely having met the same fate. Even within the neuroinhibitor, people can die. The agents want Aiden to travel to NP22 to uncover the truth and determine if the planet can become a new home for humanity. Aiden reminds them that he is neither a scientist nor a pilot, but the agents are convinced that he is his father's son and can save humanity. After the conversation, Aiden imagines his father and Susan on Mars, celebrating the discovery of a rare mineral and surveying the empty planet's expanse. His thoughts are interrupted by the voice of his psychiatrist, who reminds him that he has been visiting her for 3 years now and has recently stopped taking his medication. For the first time, he opens up about his father, whom he had previously tried to forget. The psychiatrist asks what he hopes to gain from these sessions. Unexpectedly, Aiden confesses that he feels out of his mind as he is about to do something incredible. The psychiatrist assumes he means self-harm, but Aiden refuses to elaborate and leaves abruptly. At home, Aiden unexpectedly recalls an operating room scene and emerges from his bathtub, where he usually relaxes. This time, however, he feels intensely agitated and picks up a bottle of pills, yet he suddenly sets them aside, deciding against taking the medication. Meanwhile, Sharp reports to his superiors that Aiden might follow in his father's footsteps and become humanity's hope. Before losing contact, Crawford managed to transmit a video feed of the Andromeda system. It was far larger than previously thought, revealing the dark side of NP22. A distress signal emanates from this area, a signal only Aiden can investigate. Sharp receives another message, previously undecipherable. It shows a robot claiming that, in every universe, there exists a dictator posing as an explorer whose true intent is to destroy, enslave, or annihilate their people. Sharp interprets this as a potential threat. His superior advises caution and insists that Aiden be persuaded to undertake the mission. The next day, Aiden is late again. The agents doubt he will agree to the risky proposal, as even they aren't fully confident in the neuroinhibitor's functionality. But Aiden arrives and agrees to join the mission. He is taken to a simulator where the team demonstrates what will happen during the mission. When Aiden lands on the planet, he will see a clear sky in the landing zone. Breathing will be disabled, though it won't be necessary. He will travel aboard a ship designed by his father. The vessel accounts for many factors, including artificial gravity, though the exterior airlock will lack it. However, Aiden doesn't get to experience weightlessness because he is asked to exit the simulator. He removes the VR headset and is introduced to the white suit, another invention of Crawford Sr. Aiden sees himself armed, as self-defense is critical in space. Then comes the cosmic jump. Aiden performs the jump, though clumsily, and finds himself above a planet named Cerberus, as his father had called it. From above, he sees its ice-covered surface. Aiden lands and begins walking, as Sharp explains that the atmosphere contains radon instead of oxygen, and just 10 seconds of exposure would be lethal. Sharp grants Aiden some time to explore, noting that no other planet like this exists. Aiden hikes through icy mountains, marveling at Cerberus's stunning landscapes and its striking similarity to Earth. Soon, he reaches a field filled with flowers. However, every plant here is deadly poisonous to humans. Suddenly, Aiden finds himself on an escalator. This turns out to be a sign that he is leaving the simulation, otherwise he might remain trapped forever. Aiden exits the simulation and learns that the entire training program was created by Crawford and is a product of his brain's work. But next time it will be real. When Aiden arrives on NP22, he is instructed not to interact with the projections, people created from memories. They cannot see or touch him, though he can see them. Aiden ponders how his father managed to keep his discovery a secret. It turns out that Crawford had reported it to the president, who calculated the cost of providing inhibitors for every human on Earth and subsequently shut down the project, leaving only 2 employees in the department. The next day, Aiden visits his psychiatrist again. She expresses concern about his state of mind, suggesting a new treatment. However, he suddenly begins talking about overpopulation and how his father had solved the problem. Everything here, he says, will soon come to an end, ushering in a new life. At home, Aiden pours his pills into the sink and flushes them away. Later, he goes to NASA and requests permission to use the neuroinhibitor to revisit his father's memories. After some debate, he finds himself in a room where young Aiden is watching cartoons as his father returns from work. The boy runs away, leaving the older Aiden alone with his father. Suddenly, Crawford addresses him directly, asking him not to be afraid. He speaks of groundbreaking technologies beyond imagination, weaponry humanity could never create, and an existence so complex and intricate that it defies human comprehension. The only language he has found in that realm, he says, is violence. Crawford reveals that he sacrificed his family to continue searching for a new home for humanity, but everything he did was for his son. Aiden refuses to believe him and admits that he struggles nightly with suicidal thoughts. He takes pills and sees a psychiatrist trying to cope. His father insists that Aiden is destined to accomplish something remarkable to help others. Crawford promises to atone for his mistakes and describes the systems of defense, advanced weaponry, and ships he created. He explains how he monitored enemies who see humanity as insignificant creatures. He reveals that the fifth dimension, time, exists and can be perceived by their enemies even if humans cannot see it. Crawford explains that an incomprehensibly advanced species arrived on NP-22, a species for whom Andromeda is home. They do not want humanity to settle there. Crawford suddenly stops talking, and Aiden is ejected from the simulation without learning what happened on the planet. McGrady brings him back to reality and reveals that Crawford reprogrammed his beacon after disappearing, making it untraceable. Aiden visits his psychiatrist once more, claiming she has no idea what the human mind is capable of. His problems, he insists, are trivial. That's why he is willing to take a risk. The psychiatrist wishes him luck. The next day, Aiden embarks on his mission to NP-22. He flies to the planet and sees the colony and the projections of its inhabitants. The structures are intact, indicating that the attack has not yet occurred. Suddenly, one of the projections moves toward him, but it becomes clear that the projection cannot see Aiden. The agents instruct him to take photos of the greenhouses and then leave. During this time, the sensors malfunction, and Aiden spots lurking robots. He tries to warn the projections, but they cannot perceive him. Frustrated, he removes his visor and reports seeing an enemy army. He cannot understand why the projections cannot be worn. Sharp reminds him that these people are already ghosts. They completed their mission and proved that humans can live on NP-22, but the enemies will not allow humanity to migrate there. They will attack repeatedly until humanity leaves. Aiden confesses that he spoke with his father, who warned him to search for another planet. Humanity has two options: find another home or defend NP-22. Aiden is given a chance to prevent the attack. He returns to NP-22, but to save the planet and himself, he must return unscathed. The mission fails. An invasion unfolds too quickly. Something disrupts the connection, and Aiden is surrounded and killed. His body, lifeless and devoid of consciousness, remains on the distant planet. NASA fakes Aiden's death, making it appear as though he drowned in his bathtub. His psychiatrist waits for him at their next session in vain. Sharp reports the incident to his superiors and mentions an unreadable signal received from NP-22. He speculates that Crawford orchestrated everything and that one projection might still be alive. However, he is ordered to destroy all traces of the project. At this moment, a signal arrives. From Aiden, he claims that he and his father are alive. Crawford had anticipated the attack and reprogrammed the inhibitors, allowing the researchers to reconstruct themselves and find a new planet. This planet, Aiden explains, has ample space, life, resources, and time. If the powers that be deem humanity worthy of salvation, they will be waiting. The film suffers from a low budget, evident in its outdated CGI and antiquated props. However, the story itself is captivating and full of promise. The song. Went